Yeah. What's up, YouTube? How you guys doing today, man? Hey, your boy's back, Taz B, here with another banger. Hey, this is your host, Taz B, with Smack Nation, where we always question the unknown. How you guys doing today, chat? Hey, man, I'm giving you guys some interesting content out here. So I hope you guys are watching and you do your own research, your own benchmark of watching videos. I got other videos like this. Please like, share, and subscribe. This helps your boy, and I appreciate you guys, man. It's been a great year so far. I'm truly blessed. Hey, make sure you put the Most High first and always accomplish your goals. All right, so today, chat, we got the lore of one of the most comedic, psychological, crazy dream demon that's ever existed, and that is Freddy Krueger, the Freddy Krueger lore. Now, this is going to kind of go down some channels of information you guys didn't know. So let's dive deep. Let's listen. Let's see what's going on, and we will give our response. Right, chat? All right. Let's hit it. Let's go.
Please kill me.
Fear is a strong emotion. We seek the thrill we get from fear, and perhaps that is why amusement park rides, despite how edge of the seat they may be, are so popular. Over the past few decades, we have seen a significant rise in good quality horror media, whether it is in literature, movies, podcasts, mangas, comics, or just creepypasta stories. The horror icons in all of these media have terrified us, and for some messed up people, these horror icons serve as an inspiration. And yes, I'm referring to the Slender Man stabbing case of the two young girls. But regardless of said messed up things, these horror icons are terrifying on their own accord. I guess there is an added layer to it when we see the words based on a true story. Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street is a genre-defining horror movie. But would it surprise you if I said it is based on a true story? If you are ready to face your biggest fears and search the all-encompassing darkness for what lurks in it, then this is the video for you. Join us as we uncover what motivated Wes Craven to make this horror classic in the first place. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Kill for me.
What is Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street? Well, if you are a horror fan, there is no way you have not heard about Nightmare on Elm Street because it is simply that popular. This franchise has 9 films, novels, comic books, and a television series. So for sure, you have seen one of them at least. But if you haven't, do not worry, I will tell you about the story overall. So the basic premise of this supernatural slasher is that there is a character called Freddy Krueger, and he was not at all a good guy. He used to murder children, and he almost got away scot-free. But to ensure that justice was served, the vengeful parents of the murdered children decided to take matters into their own hands. They eventually burned him alive, getting rid of him for good. However, Freddy did not plan on staying dead, returned from his grave as an apparition, and started haunting the teenage residents of the fictional town, Springwood. He would terrorize them in their dreams, and then when he got his hands on them, he would of course murder them. Now, you might think, well, he is just showing up in a nightmare. How bad can it get? Well, pretty bad, because whatever he does to them in the dreams does show up in real life as well. One by one, the teens of Springwood were killed off until Nancy Thompson, played by the beautiful Heather Langenkamp, managed to pull him out of her dreams and kill him off. If you have missed this 1984 classic, I highly recommend it. You get to watch the beginning of an iconic era of horror and also a young and handsome Johnny Depp.
That is true, chat. When you see a lot of these old videos, you'd be shocked to see some of the top listed actors are just so young. It's like they're very precipice of their career in some of these horror movies, and you look, you're like, wow, I didn't even know he was in that movie. But going back to what he said, TV show. Chat, you guys know about a Freddy Krueger TV show? I don't know one. And I do remember all the movies. I knew all the remember the action figure, and I know Halloween, people dress up like him, women dress up like him. As far as a TV show, I need to look into that, chat. If you know anything about that and you saw it, spam it down the chat, let me know. This is crazy.
This movie would not be the end of his murderous adventures though. Freddy came back again in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which came out in 1985. This time, the main protagonist is Jesse Walsh, played by Mark Patton. He moved into the Thompson house after Nancy moved out, and Freddy decided that he would possess the body of this young teen. The day was saved by Lisa, Jesse's girlfriend, who managed to exorcise Krueger's spirit out of Jesse's body. The movie after this was a bit goofy if you ask me. The horror factor was still there, but the campiness of it went up several notches. In 1987's A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Freddy is back at it again, killing off the Springwoods teenagers. But despite Springwood being affected by Freddy 2 times already, the people yet again did not believe that this was Freddy's doing. They assumed the kids were doing mass killing, and so the rest of the teenagers were put in a mental institute to keep them safe. Obviously, this just gave Freddy the leeway he needed because the psychiatric hospital would obviously put the kids to sleep, and the moment they happened to be asleep, it was just free real estate for Freddy. Eventually, Nancy Thompson from the first movie shows up at this mental institute as an intern and notices the patterns. She helped the children find their dream powers, which helped them defeat Freddy. This time around, Amanda Krueger, Freddy's mom, shows up as an apparition to one of the kids and tells them to bury Freddy's remains in a hollowed ground in order to stop him. But before the kid could do that, Freddy managed to kill off Nancy. The fourth movie continues this whole dream power shenanigan in 1988's A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. In this movie, we follow Kristen from the last movie who accidentally released Freddy from his eternal slumber. And what is...
Now, Chad, I ain't gonna lie, when the Freddy got up to the other series, it was comical. It was comical. Because he would always crack jokes and be smacking on them before he eliminate them, which was just crazy. So yeah, he's right. It got silly. It got silly, Chad. That first one though, that first one was fire. It was totally different. It wasn't anything that's ever been done before. He was like kind of a unique character, just like, you know, Michael Myers, you know, Jason Voorhees. You know, these guys were just original characters. Other countries and stuff try to copy them. You know, it's whack. But these guys were very creative and backed up. Some of these guys are backed up by real events that has happened, which is creepy.
The first thing Freddy does after being released? Why? Kill children, of course. He even kills Kristen, but right before he does, she manages to give her dream powers to Alice Johnson, played by Lisa Wilcox. Alice, who has no idea about these things, inadvertently starts to supply Freddy with more victims, as when she sleeps, she pulls others into her dreams. Freddy, seeing this as a grand opportunity, keeps killing more children. Eventually, Alice sees that something is off and starts showing traits of her late friends, which helps her put two and two together. She confronts Freddy eventually and releases all the souls of the fallen kids onto Freddy, who rip him apart. In A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, we see that Freddy is trying to be reborn again. He has chosen a little baby as his vessel. And who is that baby? It's Jacob, Alice's child. He pulled both Jacob and Alice into the dream world and was about to live out his gory dreams of being born again when his mother, Amanda Krueger, showed up. She urged Jacob to use the powers he has against Freddy, and that gave her the one shot to subdue the fiend.
I guess the question I have is, what powers did they supposed to have? Now, I know in the Dream Warriors, they were being taught how to take over their dreams, how to make themselves strong in their dreams and what have you, because it's considered, you know, a lucid dream. You know, you have power over your dream. But what powers are they supposed to have other than that? Than dealing with a demon spirit like Freddy. And why does the mom keep coming? Is there something that she knew he was evil? Was he messing with evil things? Was he messing with Ouija boards? I don't know, Chad. Let's see what they're saying.
Amanda took it, and Alice and Jacob were able to get out of the dream world pretty safely. 2 years after this movie, in 1991, we see Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. In this movie, we learn a bit more about Freddy's backstory, which I will explain a bit later. In this movie, Freddy wanted to create new Elm Streets and start off a new wave of killing sprees. Maggie, his daughter, managed to use her dream techniques to find out more about Freddy. Right when he was offered eternal life by dream demons, she managed to pull Freddy out of the dream world and destroy him with a pipe bomb. All of these movies were sequels to one another. The last 3 movies of this franchise, however, take a different reality. In Wes Craven's New Nightmare of 1994, we get to experience a fascinating concept. According to this movie, every other movie we have seen so far is just fiction. Craven plays himself, Englund plays himself, Nancy plays herself, you get the drift. According to this movie, the character of Freddy Krueger is actually an evil entity which is trapped in the movies where its tale is being told. Now that the movies have stopped, this entity wants to go out into the real world. It sees Heather Langenkamp as Nancy, the first ever person to defeat it, and kidnaps her son into the dream world. To defeat this entity, Heather had to play Nancy one last time and persuade the entity just enough until she could trap it in a furnace and destroy him for good. We get the campy horror goodness of Freddy vs. Jason of 2003. This movie, as the name suggests, is about Friday the 13th's silent killer going against our dreamy slasher. Freddy had grown weak as no one in Springwood believed in him anymore. And so to strike more fear, he pretended to be Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother. He sent Jason after the people in Springwood to create panic and chaos. Jason succeeded in doing that. He also did not want to stop killing. This pushes Freddy to fight with Jason in both domains, Dreamworld and Crystal Lake, and we do not see who wins the fight in the end. Lastly, we have seen the 2010's Nightmare on Elm Street remake with Rooney Mara. Here, Rooney Mara plays Nancy, who saw that young kids of her age were being killed in their sleep. Upon conducting some more investigation, she found out that they were all connected because Freddy Krueger had molested all of them back when they were little kids. Their parents got together and burnt him alive, but that...
Now, see, chat. Now they said molested. Now that's some new. You know, I know he was just a serial killer and just killing children, but I didn't know that was involved. Did y'all know that?
That was, again, not enough to stop him. Freddy turns into a vengeful spirit and slowly kills off the kids, saving Nancy for the last, as she is his favorite. Freddy refused to let Nancy sleep for long enough so that she eventually slipped into a coma. Luckily, her friend injected adrenaline into her, bringing both Nancy and Freddy out into the real world. Together, the two friends defeated the supernatural entity and burned the remains, finishing them off for good. Now, over the 9 movies, it is clear that Freddy is not someone you can take lightly. He simply refuses to stop, and it is clear that he is quite messed up. But is it because he was murdered by the vengeful parents? Well, not exactly. See, Amanda Krueger, the one who has shown up as a fairy godmother for 2 movies, was a nun. She used to work in a hospital, and during her tenure, she went through something horrible. She was accidentally locked in a room with patients, and there she was assaulted by more than 100 psychopaths. These traumatic events eventually led to her pregnancy with Freddy. She left her job, settled in Springwood, and gave birth to Freddy.
Chat. Over 100 attackers. Freddy Krueger's mom. That's sick. That's crazy. I mean, who knows if she absorbed, if some of these guys are crazy and had unfamiliar spirits and it kind of marinated in her. That is just, who thought this is crazy?
Even remarried another man. However, despite her desire for a normal life, Freddy was simply not born for that. He was cruel to animals and hurtful towards others, and that led to him being bullied by his classmates a lot. His stepfather was not very kind to him either and often beat him black and blue. However, Freddy eventually tried to make a good life for himself. He got married and had a kid, but his urges got the best of him. He went on a rampage killing kids, earning him the title of Springwood Slasher. He was caught, but he was released because of a technical error. Someone did not sign the warrant in the appropriate place. Obviously then, the vengeful parents locked him up in the boiler room and set him on fire. After this horrific incident, the Elm Street parents decided to stay quiet about it. They did not want their teens to suffer from this knowledge, and Freddy Krueger was always chalked up to being an urban legend. Kids started being killed one by one. The parents were understandably shocked hearing a name they know all too well, which adds an interesting layer to the story. Personally, when I watch Nightmare on Elm Street, the main theme that pops out to me is childhood trauma and how it can have a long-lasting effect on anyone.
I agree, chat. You know, I think we need to have more things in place for childhood trauma. For anyone that's been going through a horrific time, or because it can just stay in the mental and just cause so much damage because they don't have an outlet. They don't have anyone they can talk to, and it just constantly, the brain can be like a constant recorder, playback. So I really pray if you are watching this and you need that type of help, please reach out. There's nothing wrong with you, but we all need that help to release and have a normalcy in life. So if you are that person, please reach out. If you need some numbers or anything else like that, hit me up down below in my chat separately, and I'll see what I can do getting you numbers.
Children who went through the horrible things had their own set of issues, and the parents, who were just trying to protect their kids by not coming clean, unintentionally made everything worse. The redemption that drives Nancy and all of the female protagonists of the movies is genuinely such a satisfying thing to watch. Also, the concept of horror that crosses over from your fantasy world into reality is terrifying. So yeah, as you can guess, this movie holds a special place near my heart. Real-life incidents. But this horrific demon that chases you down in your dreams is not something that came to Craven out of the blue. See, before Craven wrote the story, he came across an article talking about a refugee child from the Cambodian genocide under the rule of Pol Pot. He wanted to make Cambodians the master race, and that led to the deaths of more than 2 million South Asians. This young child was so scared that he refused to sleep while his entire family fled from Cambodia to America. Apparently, the boy was scared that he would be attacked in his dreams and he would never wake up again. After coming to America and a few more days of not going to sleep, one night, the boy eventually went to bed. This made his entire family think everything was fine, but they were awoken in the middle of the night, hearing blood-curdling screams from the boy's room. By the time they reached him, the boy had died. He died in a nightmare, but this one is not a one-off event. There were dozens of Southeast Asian refugees who suffered and died from a mysterious sleep disorder while they went to bed. The victims of these deaths were mostly young men between the ages of 20 and 30. Most of these men were refugees from Laos, another small country in Southeast Asia.
Chat. Wow. I tell you, some of these directors, man, when they get these inspiration, they read articles, they research stuff, and sometimes what we're watching is very close to what something happened. Maybe a little fluff as far as Hollywood and entertainment, but it can be very close to the real base. Very close. Maybe a little bit like this with that fluff. Some kind of unknown sleep disease, and it targets between a certain age group, and they're unalive.
The Hmongs were a minority race of Laos who were persecuted by everyone after the CIA recruited them to fight the North Vietnamese soldiers in the Vietnam War. About 30,000 or more Hmong soldiers helped the US out in their fight in the Northern Highlands. They also died in far greater numbers than their American fellows. The war ended in 1975, and Laos became a communist country. The Hmong people were viewed as traitors and were forced to become refugees in Thailand or the US to save their lives. Understandably, these young men had gone through a version of hell that really left a mark on their souls. These mysterious deaths first started being noted in 1978. From 1978 to 1981, 13 Hmong men died in their sleep. On investigation, it was found out that all of their hearts were damaged. A nerve fiber that sent signals to the heart from the brain was severed completely, almost like their heart went through a short circuit. But why this was happening, no one knew. This was called Sudden Unexplained Nocturnal Death Syndrome, or SUNS, and the Centers for Disease Control and Preventions, or CDC, investigated it at great length. However, no concrete medical explanation was found. The Hmongs themselves believed that they were being punished by their ancestors for leaving their homeland. This stress, as well as the other stressors from the war, could have been the reason, but that is just speculation at this point. How horrified do you have to be to die in your sleep like this? Having your heart fail on you while you are trapped in a nightmare? Is it really based on these incidents? Wes Craven's inspiration. We all suffer from nightmares, but what if we ended up being trapped in it? That was a sentiment that Wes Craven wanted to emulate in his script. With the son's cases in point, he set out to work on the script of Nightmare on Elm Street. But this was just not enough. To make the villain scarier, Craven knew he had to personalize it. He had to put something that struck fear in himself into the story. In Never Sleep Again, The Making of a Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven mentioned this terrifying encounter that stuck with him for a long time. Back when he used to live in his childhood home, one night, Craven woke up from something feeling rather off. He woke up and found an unwanted guest right outside his bedroom window, and it was a drunk man in a tattered fedora who had unceremoniously woken him up. The man stared at Wes Craven through the window hard enough to scare the young boy. As most kids do, he hid under the blanket and hoped everything would be okay. When he felt like he was safe, he carefully made his way to the window and peered outside, but the man was still there. It was as if the man knew the young child was there, peering at him from the gap between the blinds. The creepy man maintained his gaze on Wes Craven's bedroom window between the blinds. The creepy man maintained his gaze on Wes Craven's bedroom window as he walked away from the house. You can imagine just how much this particular incident traumatized the young child.
Do you see that, chat? This is Wes Craven. So that means that he developed this movie out of research and his own trauma. Some creepy guy. And if you're watching this, don't ever go outside to someone at your window or knocking on your door that's an unknown. Pick up the phone, call 911, keep your house secure. It could be a trap. All right, chat? Let's use this. Easy.
Creepy man from his childhood was wearing a weathered-down fedora, and Craven used exactly that in the character design of Freddy Krueger to give him his signature frightening allure. As he grew up a fundamentalist Baptist, Craven saw how his parents refused to express their emotions. This suppression of rage, joy, and pleasure were all things that were indoctrinated within him as he grew up. While writing Nightmare on Elm Street, Craven focused on the suppression of emotions, trauma, and guilt as the main topic to highlight the consequences of this practice. When Wes Craven was working on Freddy's character design, he read a scientific article that told him that the hardest combination of colors for the human eye is red and green. Deciding that would be perfect to horrify the watchers on a subconscious level, Wes Craven added that into Freddy's costume.
See what I'm saying, chat? These guys do their research. You see, they even went down to the spectrum of color. You see that? So when they do these movies, it's intentional. They know what they're doing. Just keep that in mind, chat.
Giving him his iconic red and green stripes to make sure anyone could recognize him in an instant. While the color of the jumper and tattered fedora is surely iconic in its own ways, the most iconic part about Freddy Krueger is his name. This name of his is also inspired from Wes Craven's childhood, specifically from his childhood bully named Fred Krueger. Wes Craven wanted to portray an adult who enjoyed terrifying children, and from that idea, the iconic Freddy Krueger was born. Marvelous verdict. Nightmare on Elm Street is a franchise that is far more than just a movie. While on the surface, it can be classified as just another iconic slasher film, with all the history and inspiration behind it, you can understand just how much love was put into this project. Freddy is the epitome of reality-bending horror, and I, for one, enjoyed learning more about his origin. Let us know in the comments which aspect of it all you enjoyed the most. Do you think you would be able to distinguish between reality and fantasy when a knife-wearing maniac chases you down? Let us know. Until next time, take care. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, chat. So, hey, thank you for joining your boy here, Taz B. Wow, chat. All I can say is, wow, another banger. You know, man, I look at Freddy Krueger a whole different way now, chat. And I'm going to revisit these movies and watch them one by one. Because now that you get older, I mean, these came out when I was a kid. Now that you're older, you have a lot more carnal knowledge and education behind how they develop this, the pitched idea coming from trauma. Wow. Wow. Because even some people that actually watched this series got trauma just from dreaming chat. So, wow, very interesting, very interesting. All the way down from his hat to his outfit to the colors. Well thought out, chat. Well thought out. So, hey, that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys do your own research and homework. Hope you enjoy this video. And once again, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate that. And hey, I got other videos. Check it out. Check out our Predator lore. Check out our Jason that's fresh off the press, and take a look at the chat. Until then, hope you have a great and blessed day. Stay safe and always protect home base. Yes. Until then, take this with you.
Ha